You are watching Gooch Live featuring Paul Rosen. I'm better known as the Gooch.
I'm better known as Rosie.
All right, brought to you by the good people at the Hockey News.
And the great people at Christian Hockey.
Hey, Paul, how you doing? How was your night, kid?
Not bad, not bad. I watched the replay of the 1994 quarterfinal Game 7 in Calgary, Saddle Dome. Vancouver Canucks went on to win it in double overtime. Beautiful goal by Pavel Bure. They went on to play for the Stanley Cup and lost to the New York Rangers. We know that. We had Mike Keenan on a little while ago talking about how incredible that was, winning that Stanley Cup with Stefan Matteau scoring a huge goal.
Yes, sir, and I put a bet on it, and I won it, actually, last night. Hey, listen, we got our jerseys on tonight. I want to say, Paul, what do you got going on with your jersey?
I've got Team Canada black jersey. It's a classic. You don't get to wear it very often. It's a special thing with Hockey Canada to wear that black jersey every once in a while. And this one was last worn in the 2009 World Championships in Ostrava, Czech Republic, where, a little bit of a trivia question, we played 6 games. I had 6 shutouts, and we won the bronze medal. Not the gold, the bronze, because we lost in the semifinal in a shootout.
Salt Lake City.
Shootout goals don't count.
Oh. Salt Lake City.
What about Salt Lake City?
I thought it was a question.
No, it was how do you win a bronze medal with 6 shutouts? They didn't allow a goal in the tournament.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah.
Okay, I got to figure that one out. So that's a great story, great jersey. We must have called each other and said matching, because I'm in black and white and red. It's called the Hamburg Crocodile, the Spiegel. So that's a jersey I wore in 19.
I love the teeth on the neck.
Fantastic, yeah. Actually designed by my company, which was really cool. And so what happened was we won the German championship in the 3rd division. It's called the Oberliga for the Hamburg Crocodiles, and Jens Kosten, whom you know, was in net with me, or was in net for the team. So cool jerseys, well done. And I know our guest that's coming up in a few minutes, he's got a special jersey on too. But before we go there, let's talk a little bit, say hello to Josh Hay in New Zealand watching us. Josh, Paul and I need a jersey from New Zealand. So you get it, we'll wear it. He wears the white jersey, I'll wear the black jersey. And Paul, you know, their name is the All Blacks is for rugby.
Yeah.
It's called the Ice Blacks for hockey. And they actually do the haka. You know that thing where they do the dance?
Yeah. I was in Australia. I was dealing with you that time. They did it in a bar. It was insane.
You got it. And, you know, we've got my buddy Craig Elrich, who's always there. We're going to get him on. He does a bunch of stuff with senior hockey. He plays in those national tournaments around North America. They've been canceled, obviously. We are in the plus 60. I played with him a couple of times. So thanks for joining us. And our buddy Kevin Hume. Listen,
I can play in the plus 60 next month. A month tomorrow, I'll be turning 60. And right. I think Josh says done deal. That's great. So
we'll be singing with you. Listen, let's go into, obviously, the NHL has just postponed the combines, the draft, and the awards. It's not that it wasn't unexpected. We knew that it was only a matter of time because of all the things that were going on. Have you been to any of them? Have you been to the draft or the awards or the combine?
Yeah, you know what? The draft, 2 stories that in the 2000 draft, when I brought a player over. He played in Kazakhstan with Nick Antropov, played with the Israeli team, came over to Canada and played in Newmarket, then was drafted 62nd overall by the New Jersey Devils. And so the combines, Max spoke Russian, obviously, but a lot of people didn't know. And Max was at the combines. We were watching him. It was in Toronto. And there was a couple of Russian players that were talking in Russian about the fact that they were going to get out of the VO Max test, where they put all the stuff on the tubes on. You ride the bike, whatever. And Max said to me, he goes, "Watch, this guy's going to pull a shoot. He's going to pretend that he's sick," because they were talking in Russian. It was great, and the guy did it. But the draft that year was at the ACC, and I was sitting behind Ricky Nash and Ricky Nash's agent. And that's when Florida had the first pick overall,
Yeah.
and they switched. They traded with Columbus with McLean, and McLean ended up taking Doug McLean. He ended up taking Ricky Nash, first overall with the Columbus Blue Jackets, and Jay Momeister went second overall with the Florida Panthers, and I was right in the heart of it. Saw all the guys going down. It was unbelievable. And I know you never had the chance to with the draft, but what do you think, Gucci's players are, like they're getting ready for this? It's a massive thing. They're going in the draft. Maybe they're number 1 overall, maybe not in the 7th round, but it's a massive thing that only happens once.
Well, yeah, it was supposed to be in Montreal, which is absolutely electric. And what's even more exciting, it was going to be June this year. And I think what happened, obviously, we know that it had to be canceled, but that Alexis Lafreniere was going to be the top prospect, obviously being from Quebec, the draft being in Montreal. Man, I feel for this kid because obviously it's not going to happen. It may happen. It's postponed, so we don't know when and what. But obviously when you postpone events like this, can Montreal pull it around, or will they have to move it to a new city? Obviously, there's a lot of unknowns, but I can only quickly tell you that I never got drafted. I got an opportunity to go to a pre-rookie camp with the Winnipeg Jets through John Ferguson Sr., and we're going to get this guy on. That draft year was Jimmy Mann. So how tough it was. Yeah. So I wasn't quite tough enough to get there. But I'll tell you what an excitement just to go to this pre-rookie camp. I couldn't even imagine what it would be like to hear your name being called out in Montreal as a Frenchman. And he wouldn't have been drafted by Montreal, but maybe they made a trade for him. But that would have been absolutely electric. I did have a chance to go to the awards in Las Vegas. I got to see Alexander Ovechkin right up close and saw his shenanigans in his younger days. So those are events these guys love and they're going to miss. But of course, we have to deal with certain things. Another really cool thing that just came on online was the fact that Bauer Hockey is stepping up, and they're not only going to be making masks, they're actually going to be making the face shields for our professional medical teams, which is so needed. We see what's going on every day on the news, the lack of materials. Wow, kudos to Bauer Hockey, Paul, to step up. They make great hockey equipment. They make great sticks, but now they've stepped up at a time of need, and they're actually going to help us with a very, very important need.
And this is where we need the world to step up and help out. If you have a skill and you can help in any way, you must step up and help, because we've got so many other people going crazy. You told me about a story yesterday with somebody $175 charging for a roll of toilet paper and paying for the shipping. I think that is absolutely ludicrous. We have to, if we can't help each other out in an hour of need when we don't know what this world's going to be like. If you would have talked to us a month ago, Gooch, we would have had no way we would have believed that we were going to do our show. You were going to be in your bedroom or in your kitchen or in your living room, wherever you are today. And I'm in my sister's bedroom with all the doors shut. We would have never thought that. So we're doing something that we have an opportunity to do, is give back some form of entertainment, hopefully, good or bad. And that's what you have to do now. So
it's fantastic. Hey, Paul, gotta ask you this question. Yep. Who's crazier? The person that paid $175 for toilet paper, they could call me, I'll give them free newspapers here, or the person that's trying to sell it for $175?
Both. Absolutely both. Unbelievable. You got a shower in your house. Take a shower.
Well, you know what? I want to do the shout out again to Bauer Hockey. Incredible. And you know what? Your buddy Dennis Marouk just popped on, said, Paul, you're looking good. And he's also saying kudos to Bauer Hockey. So that's fantastic. Listen, you know what? We do a lot of great things. You're doing it. We're on the 30-day challenge. I'm on the 30-day challenge to lose weight. You're on the 30-day challenge to post a picture for donate a photo. It's all for Shoot for a Cure. You put on some incredible pictures. It's all free. We're not asking for money. You donate a photo. You go onto your app store, download Johnson & Johnson, donate a photo. There's no solicitation. Johnson & Johnson just wants to get our people engaged, and they will donate for every picture that you put up. You can only put up one every 24 hours, but for every picture you put up, we raise $1 American. So Johnson & Johnson, thank you. Donate a photo. Barry Monroe and myself are so honored that they picked us as one of these charities.
Yeah, Gooch, I have put up 10 now. So today will be at some point around 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock soon. I'll be putting up my 11th. Yesterday, I put a picture of the last time I played in Vancouver. I was coming off the ice, and Tomo Robelsat, big defenseman for the Norwegian team, has got his big paw around my neck, and we were both thanking each other for a good career, and that was the end of it. But I'm telling you, everybody out there, Tony Meal, your beautiful wife, she was the one that really got me to do this. If I can do it, and anybody knows me, and I am the most computer illiterate person in the world, and if I could do it, and every day I put a new picture on, I click it, today will be number 11, I will be doing all 30, guaranteed. So come on, it's 4 o'clock. If I can do it, you can do it.
Donate a photo. All right, listen, we're going to bring our new guest on. He is unbelievable. I've met this guy several times. He actually got me to come out and participate in a charity game, a bunch of charity games, but this one was more him giving back to a bunch of people. We got to skate at that time, the Air Canada Centre, now obviously Scotiabank, the Scotia, what's it called now? God, it's got so many different names.
Yes, I think it's called Scotiabank.
Yeah, Scotiabank. Well, Bruce Tennant will come on, and he's going to tell us. He's from Hockey Toronto. The reason why we're bringing guys on like Bruce, we want to talk about more than just the NHL. He does incredible things to help grow the game, and most importantly, he helps a lot of guys that are our age now that can come out and play hockey, whether it be just a pickup game or they can get involved in a tournament. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the show, Gooch Live. We've got Bruce Tennant. How you doing, Bruce?
Thanks a lot, guys, for having me on. I appreciate it.
I know you and Paul know each other, so we'll get into that.
Longer than we'd like to admit, actually.
I just want to see your jersey. What do you got?
I think I put Paul in the penalty box a couple of times here and there.
Well, that's right. You're a referee.
Yeah. We'll talk about that in a second.
Boo. All right. I know you got a jersey on. Bruce, what do you got?
I got my Scotiabank Breakfast Tournament jersey on, given to me by one of the guys, organizers, a long time ago.
Well, I know you're a big fan of that, big supporter. You do a lot of great work for that. Unfortunately, as is everything, it was going to happen on my birthday, April 30th. Last year, we did it for Robert Cohen. I think you
remember that. That's right.
We were going to have a team with Robert Cohen again, and I was going to be with David Robertson. Unfortunately, that's been postponed, which is obviously a casualty to this.
August the 20th, I believe, it's rescheduled to, yes. Yeah.
Okay, great. Fantastic. All right, Bruce, why don't you tell us what Hockey Toronto is? It's a website that people can go on. Tell us what it's all about.
It's basically a catch-all for everything hockey. Doesn't matter if you're a learn-to-skate player or a learn-to-play, or looking for a pickup game, or if you're looking for a hockey league for your team, or your team's looking for players, or teams looking for goalies. You name it, we pretty well do it. I think years ago, maybe all three of us probably, we started playing hockey because of our parents. And these days, it's the parents starting to play hockey because of their kids. Their kids are playing, so they want to get into it. They want to be Canadian, so they want to play hockey. So we run adult skill sessions for beginner adults, and even guys who have been around for a few years are getting back into the game. It's just basically everything to do with hockey.
Well, and I've been to some of your sessions, and you know what? This year I'm going to volunteer my time. I would like to come out and work with some of your beer leaguers. I was doing it in New Zealand and in Australia, and what's even crazier, they call them beer ginners. They don't call them beer leaders. They call them beer ginners.
So that's interesting. Yeah.
All right. Well, I know, Bruce, you and Paul know each other, so why don't you guys carry on a little bit of a conversation? It'd be great. Paul?
Yeah, so we go back way. I'm going to be 60 next month, and we go back to back in the late 70s, early 80s in the Benebrith hockey league. I had long hair back then and two legs, and I was playing, and I was a hothead. I have learned one thing about me being in recovery from alcoholism and other things is I've learned to take responsibility for my actions. And I was a bit of a hothead. Bruce was a referee. I think at one point you might have even been the head ref of the entire league.
No, not me. A friend of mine was. We got recruited through the OHA. We were doing an OHA game at St. Mike's one night, and the guy came down to us and said, "Would you guys like to referee on Sunday mornings at Chestwood Arena?" And we said, "Yeah, sure." and we figured the guy meant start like next September, but we actually started the following Sunday, and yeah, that league could be a bit of a challenge at times, but we brought it around, and it was I guess Ken Dryden said it best: hockey brings out the worst in some people and the best in others, and some people went from being the worst to being the best just by they needed a little control. That's all, and it worked out really well. It was a good league.
Yeah, so about that. So when I was playing, obviously we had a few run-ins here and there. I respected you off the ice as a ref. On the ice, I never liked any ref. Even when I played goal for Canada, I led Team Canada in penalty minutes one year as the goalie. So I was a hothead, no doubt about it. But Bruce, watching now the way it is in men's league, because there was some issues back. I remember because there were some good hockey players, some players that thought they were better than they were, and there was some tussles on the ice. How do you find it now, going back from the 80s to now, with the respect for referees in minor hockey?
They say they say there is a lack of respect with the referees, but I think unfortunately, a lot of the referees, they have to earn the respect. Okay, you don't just put on that black and white jersey and instantly you're a superstar referee. I think they've got to. I started when I was 13, and I worked my way up through the GTHL and the OHA and university hockey and you name it. And I like to think that I've been taught by a lot of guys who knew hockey and refereed for years, so I know what I'm doing. But some guys, they're 35 years old, they throw on a referee's jersey and all of a sudden they're an expert. It just doesn't work that way. And a lot of times I see referees, I like to think I'm a pretty good judge of referees. I watch a game and I see I watch the referees. You're probably watching the goalie, and but I'm watching the referees, and I can tell if they know what they're doing. And a lot of times they're in situations where they're in over their heads, and it's always easier to come back. Like I can imagine, Kerry, if you were playing in a D division men's league game, it would be really easy for you because obviously you play higher hockey.
Whoa, Bruce, you obviously haven't seen my body, and
you've played in high level hockey, and you come back down and do D division, play in a D division game. It would be simple. It's same with referees, and a lot of times the referees are refereeing in the highest level they've ever refed, and they're nervous, right? It's just like a player, All of a sudden you get called up to from the higher level that you've never done, and you come. It's nerve wracking, and they're put in a bad situation, and they got people yelling at them, and and it's unfortunate that happens.
Well, I can share something about that, Paul. That was a very good question. When I came back playing pro in I played for a lot of times, and I came back and I went to a tournament. It was an actual firemen's tournament that they were hosting at Westwood, and it was my first time back, and I was playing with a bunch of guys, and we played a police team. And I'll tell you, it turned out it was a bloodbath. Like we're talking, guy went off with a broken nose, one went off with a broken arm. And at the end of it, I was sitting on the bench. I think it was Brian Green I was with. And I turned to him and I said, "This is what this is all about. We're playing for a T-shirt. I got tons of T-shirts. I'll give you it." And so the referee was out of his element, but not only because of his particular position, all the guys were out of their element. And I think it's calmed down, Bruce, a little bit.
Yes.
We've got a little bit more controlled, but it was a great question, getting a perspective from a referee's eyes, because I've been reading some articles too where people are yelling and screaming at these referees, even young kids that are refereeing, the 8, 9, 10-year-olds, and they're screaming at these young referees. Listen, we're all human. We're all going to make mistakes. And most importantly, who wants that crazy job other than a guy like you, Bruce?
Yeah, I don't know why I keep doing it, but I do. I actually enjoy it. If I didn't enjoy it, I wouldn't do it. That's the thing, so.
Paul, we talked about having a lot of great guests over the last couple of days, that passion. I know you had a question for Bruce.
Yeah. So, Bruce, when you, obviously you'll love the game. You've our guests that we've had on the last couple of weeks love the game of hockey. Look at it now as the NHL is taking a break. We're not sure if it's coming back. We know it will come back at some point. As a fan who knows the game very well, what do you think the NHL is right now? Is there a team there that you think if the league came back today, they've got the opportunity to snatch that cup, or is it wide open?
I think it's pretty well wide open. There's a lot of parity in that league. The top 8 to 12 teams, anybody could probably take it. Obviously, St. Louis proved last year that they were in the last place at Christmas, and they came back and they obviously won the Stanley Cup. Any team can get hot. I think goaltending obviously is really important, and I just think it's as wide open as it's ever been. There's not really any top 2, top 3 teams that could blow anybody away.
We were talking yesterday about the Montreal Canadiens, like Sebastian on, and we were talking about the Montreal Canadiens. We got into a little bit of tussle about, I think you made a couple comments about Carey Price. Do you think there's a market that the Canadiens, that Bergevin could trade Price? I can't see it happening. I just don't see a team picking up his contract. But what do you think?
They'd have to eat some of his contract, and they probably would just get, 2 or 3 prospects and probably 2 or 3 draft picks, similar to, like, I guess when Ryan O'Reilly came out of Buffalo, what did they get? A couple of first-round draft picks, a couple draft picks, and a couple of prospects that still haven't made the NHL, and they got Ryan O'Reilly, who was the MVP, and that Ryan O'Reilly is no Carey Price. I think he. He's never ever even scored 30 goals in the league. I don't think. He just but you've got to move players and get young ones. It's a revolving circle, right? Constantly.
Yeah. So everybody knows, and they know Gooch, his favorite team is the Winnipeg Jets. Mine's the Chicago Blackhawks. Who's Bruce Tennant's favorite team?
Oh, it's got to be the Leafs. I never miss a game, so it's
Well, you better say that, because you gotta. It says Hockey Toronto, so I think
exactly.
That's right. Listen, Bruce, thank you, Paul, for a great lead-in. We've been doing this now, obviously, with everything shut down. We all got these fantasies of what's going to go on in the future and who's doing what. But what I really want to know is, if you were the general manager of your favorite team, the Toronto Maple Leafs, and once the lockdown is done, not a lockout, but a lockdown for us right now, and you were taking this team over, you're getting ready to go for the 2020-21 season, what are your first things that you would do with this organization?
Well, I guess the general consensus is they've got too much money tied up in 3 or 4 players, and I think similar to Carey Price being moved out of Montreal, they've got to move some of those players. I don't think Tavares or Matthews are the ones to be moved, but who knows? It's going to hurt, but maybe Marner or Nylander to be moved to pick up 3 or 4, solid players who can, they've got to have a better second, third line, Do
you honestly think the Maple Leafs would move Marner?
Don't know. I think right now the way they're set up, there's in the 5 to 10 range right now in Toronto, but Toronto's been waiting too long. They want to be number 1, and I think what it's going to take. There's a salary cap issues. Obviously, are they going to be able to sign Anderson? Are they going to be able to re-sign Muzzin? They've got themselves in a bit of a jam with signing all 4 guys with over $40 million. Matthews is here to stay. I think
Marner might be the easiest. I agree with Bruce on this. That Marner might be the easiest one to move because of his age and because the fact that a team might try to find a way to get his contract in, because we do know at the beginning of the season they talked about the price of what am I trying to say, the cap. Sorry, guys. The cap going up from 81 to potentially 85, 87, maybe even 88. Now,
that may come down, though, now, obviously.
Yeah, now there's no way the cap's going at 81. It might even go down. Yeah. So the Leafs might have to eat something, Bruce. I don't know. Not sure whether you're going to.
They're already eating a few contracts, aren't they? What do they got on the books? Clarkson's still on the books, and who else is still on the books? Nathan crazy. Yeah, Nathan Horton. That's right.
Yeah. Hey, listen, just before we let you go, Bruce, I've got, and Paul, you can ask the final question. I got 2 things I want to say. Hans-Gert Schofs from Krefeld, he's our biggest fan. He's on every night. He's from Krefeld, and he's always sending in a question. So, Hans, thank you for this. It's unbelievable. The question is this: do you know Peter Anichuk?
Oh, you remember him with the Leafs? Yes, obviously, yes.
I don't know if you know it. Maybe Paul, you can come up with the answer here. Peter's asking, or sorry, Hans is asking, is Peter Innerchuk still a scout for the Toronto Maple Leafs? He's been for years. Do you guys know if he's still doing it?
No idea.
Okay.
No idea.
Well, Peter played in Krefeld, and Hans is one of the top reporters in Germany and a big supporter of ice hockey over there. So, Hans, thank you for that question. And the final part, from my standpoint, Bruce, you do so much for charity. You work tirelessly helping a bunch of different organizations. You've helped us at Shoot for a Cure and Stop Concussions. Tell me who else you're working with.
Hockey Helps the Homeless, the Easter Seals, all those tournaments run by Brad May and Lindros and Vive and all those guys. Yeah. It's constant. Toronto Maple Leafs have a team up challenge event they have coming up that was scheduled for June, but obviously will be postponed. Charity events, monthly. It's just it never seems to end. So. Yeah. And guys love playing in these tournaments. They love these events. They get to go into the corner with Vive and Lindros and all these guys. It's a great opportunity for a lot of guys who love playing hockey to raise money for a good cause, and obviously put themselves in a great position.
Well, thank you for all you do, Paul.
Yeah. So Bruce, last thing, you with all the guys that are involved in your games, your pickup games, are they finding out this? I watch you on the internet all the time. What do you say to Johnny Q Public, who says, Bruce, I want to play hockey. What's going on? When are we doing something? When have you got another game? What do you say to me?
I mean, right now?
Yeah.
It's just a wait and see. The arenas, obviously, a number of them shut down before they were forced to. All the city rinks shut down. It's probably going to be July 1st. That's probably a reasonable, they've got to make sure this thing is dead and it's set for a few weeks before we, start talking about getting back together again and playing hockey and having 15 guys confined in a dressing room. And it's major, and it's obviously it's unprecedented. And we just got to get through it. That's all, and then come back even stronger.
Well, Bruce, we can't thank you enough. You've been watching Gooch Live featuring Paul Rosen. As you know, I'm the Gooch.
I'm Rosie. And Bruce, I officially, to the millions of people watching Gooch Live, I apologize for any foul language I used while you were refereeing me.
Oh, it's okay. It's been forgotten.
Yeah. All right, Bruce, you know what? We're gonna bring you back on once we get closer to the rinks opening up. I want you to talk about how people can get involved. Obviously, hockeytoronto.com is the website. If you go on the website, guys, at the Gooch Live, you've got some information on Bruce. And please, if you never played ice hockey and you want a chance to do it, Bruce is your man. Check out hockeytoronto.com. Bruce, thank you very much for taking time to be with us, bud.
Thanks for the opportunity, guys. Appreciate it.
Yeah, bud.
Thank you.
Well, another exciting guest. I know it's a little bit different for people.
I gave him a hard time, man. Back in the late 70s, early 80s, I was not a nice guy on the ice. I was quite a big mouth.
Listen, I was on the ice with you in Germany, in Australia a few months. Probably a year or 2 years. How long ago was that? God, time going fast.
It was about 3 years ago, but I calmed down, boy.
Well, I thought you were. Hey, I didn't think you were
retired. There was kids.
Hey, Hans, I'm going to find out about Peter Innerchuk for you, bud. Thank you for the question. I really appreciate that. And I want to do a shout out to Josh Hay again from New Zealand, taking some time to be with us. I mentioned to you about the New Zealand Ice Blacks. Kevin Hume just reminded me, let's not forget about the women, because we are having Sammy Jo Small coming up this next couple of days. We're going to talk to her about women's hockey and where it's going. But he wanted to remind me that the women's team in New Zealand is called the Ice Ferns. Ice Ferns. So I'll tell you what, if you're coming to Gooch Live, Paul, you're just going to learn a bunch of stuff that you really didn't want to know, but we wanted to know that.
Yeah, and it's going to be a really good show because Sammy Jo Small and her husband, Billy Bridges, who is the longest standing member of the Canadian para ice hockey team. He was my teammate for years. He's broken records that will never be broken again. That is going to be a really good show.
Yeah, fantastic. Look forward to that. All right, listen, let's we're going to talk a little bit about who our next guest is coming up tomorrow. Is a guy named Daryl Sittler. He's only that 10-point guy in February 7th, 1976. You remember?
I do remember it well. The one thing I want to talk to him about, and I don't know if you remember this, Gooch, but when they were playing in the tournament, and he was playing for Canada, and they were playing the old Czechoslovakia, not the Czech Republic. Czechoslovakia. He came down as off wing, had a huge fake, and Vladimir Zarilla, number 2 for the Czechoslovakian team, the goaltender, bid on it. He went around him, put it in the empty net. Oh my God, that was one of my favorite goals in the history of my watching sport. I want to talk to him about that.
Yeah, that was a very, very big moment. And of course, please come on tomorrow. You ask some questions, being active, as we have a bunch of people active here. We've got a puck that we're going to be giving away. Daryl Sittler has signed it, and you can win it. So make sure you're here. It's a Hockey Hall of Fame puck, and we'll be asking a bunch of questions. He played in Toronto, of course, for the Leafs, captain, big time. But also, what other 2 teams, Paul, put you on what are the other 2 teams he played for?
Well, Philadelphia for sure. I think he ended his career there. And I'm going to say, was it Detroit also?
Yes, Detroit, but he ended his career, I think, in Detroit. But we'll ask him that because he'll know. He'll probably remember.
I remember him going to Philly. So he either ended it in Philly or Detroit, not in Toronto.
I'm going to say you're going to go with Philly. I'm going to go to Detroit. And right now we're going to get the answer to who wins it. I can't Google. I think you're Googling. I can see you moving your tongue. But you know what?
I couldn't Google it. The only Google I know how to do is Google myself.
So you know what? We got a new segment. You know that we're going to a new show. Show's going to have a warm up. It's going to have a first period and intermission. First intermission, second period, second intermission. You'll own the first intermission. I'll own the second intermission. Third period, and then we're going to go into the wrap up, and then we're going into overtime. And the overtime is going to be with Overtime with Val. It's our new section. He's going to come out and make up all the different things that we missed up on, whether we said something wrong or we picked the wrong thing. But he'll explain that. So I'm inviting Val to join us. It's the new one called Overtime with Val. How you doing, buddy?
Hey guys, thanks for having me back on this new segment. Really looking forward to it. I'm doing pretty good. How's the show going so far, guys?
It's going great, but why are you wearing a Team
Canada? Detroit, so he did end his career in Detroit, Gooch. Okay, so it was Toronto, Philly, Detroit, and he ended it in Detroit.
How did you know that?
Yeah. He looked
Johnny
it up.
Davis came up on the screen and said Detroit, and I trust Johnny.
Okay, listen. Think about this for a second. I was going to my go-to guy because I know he's a Detroit fan.
Yeah.
Yeah, Daryl did finish off his career in Detroit. A number of years ago, I did have a chance to have a dinner with my hockey team with Daryl Sittler, and I decided it was just before the 2017 Centennial Classic down at BMO Field. Where Detroit was playing Toronto.
That's right.
And Daryl was kind enough to answer my question. And my question to Daryl was, and he knew I was joking about it, because obviously the one answer was the correct answer. I asked them, so Daryl, you played for both Toronto and Detroit. Which team will you be playing for during the Old Timers Classic the day before? And Daryl, great guy, really, really good person. He looked at me with this smile and he said, which team do you think I'm going to play for?
Philadelphia. He brought a Philadelphia jersey.
Hey, man, he was one of the best captains of the Leafs ever.
Really super guy, really great guy. Great to hear you having him on the show tomorrow. I will definitely be paying attention and watching.
Well, I'll tell you, I want to do, before you get into your thing, I just want to say you're watching Gooch Live. I'm Kerry Goulet featuring Paul Rosen. And now, Rosie, we got a new guy that's going to come on at the end of each show, and you're going to tell us what you're going to be doing.
Okay, so I am now the sole owner of Overtime on the Gooch Live. It's brought to you by our good friends at Johnson & Johnson and Donate a Photo. So if you haven't had donated your photo or downloaded that app, please do so today. Every little bit helps. I'm going to be covering any type of sport from UFC to Aussie rules football and everything in between. We're going to be taking some interaction from viewers to let me know which sports they want me to cover, and I'll come back with a quick little segment on that sport, either every day after each show or once a week.
Table tennis.
So that's
Table tennis. What do you know about table tennis?
Table tennis. I actually skipped a lot of school playing ping pong with
That's
the
good.
table tennis. Same thing. Table tennis, ping pong. Depends on what side of the world you're on. It's all the same thing. Yeah,
Well,
definitely.
you know,
So I will.
we're trying to
Sorry, Kerry.
entertain and bring information from around the world. And, you know, we're not just a hockey show. Obviously, we can specifically talk hockey, Paul and I know you're a big hockey fan too, but I'm really limited in all my sports. So it's great to have you come on, correct Paul or I making a mistake. I just want to go on record that, you know, we've been doing this Rosie's rant and Paul's beating me by 1,000. But today, officially, I won it because I picked Detroit and he picked Philadelphia. So I'm up 1-0 in that segment. So it'd be really cool to be, you could also be the referee like Bruce Tennant.
Yeah, definitely. I will actually give this one to Kerry for today, just because, Paul, you had a little help. You know, this time I'll get one on for you next time. So moving on to today's show, let's just bring up some of the topics that were brought up. First off, Bruce and Paul, you did discuss about Carey Price, whether or not they would trade him. Let me remind you, Paul, the Montreal Canadiens did trade away Subban at the height of his career, a very popular player for the Montreal Canadiens. There was a bit of an uproar with that. Montreal did look like they made out like bandits today because of the way the trade has transpired. But they got a lot for Subban. I'm sure if they're going to trade Carey Price, they're going to take it. Take what you can right now. Just like our good friends, Keith Primo's son is in the wings waiting. He is a couple years away. I think Montreal will pull that trigger once things settle down. My opinion, any Habs fans out there, my apologies. Also, we are going to move on.
You're a Detroit fan, so think about that.
I am. I'm treading lightly here. So moving on to the topic of Clarkson and Horton in terms of carrying a contract. If I'm not mistaken, when the Leafs traded for Horton from the Columbus Blue Jackets for David Clarkson, that was a contract for contract trade in the sense of like it was covered by insurance, so their contracts came off the books.
All right.
So I do believe Toronto is off the hook on that one.
Yeah, no, Nathan Horton ended last year.
Yeah, so I believe they're cleared off. I don't think Horton's going to have that back surgery. I believe that's what was the issue. He just stayed away from it and then went into insurance coverage. Now, getting back to Peter Inacek and our good friend who's been watching from Germany for quite a while, Hans. I did look it up. He finished his professional career coaching in your hometown, your home country of Germany. He coached the Nuremberg Ice Tigers.
Okay, you're right.
And he currently is a European scout for our good friend who plays in Australia's team. Who plays
Nathan Walker.
So he's a European scout. Sorry, my apologies. Stanley Cup champion Nathan Walker when he was with the Washington Capitals.
Okay, good. Yeah. All right,
so he's a European scout for the Washington Capitals.
All right, Hans, you've heard it here. Listen, we Overtime by Val has got you that he's in the Washington Capitals organization, and he actually played in Krefeld. He was a really good player.
Yes, he was. I do remember him and his brother Peter and
Miroslav
Inacek. That's right, under the Harold Ballard years. But that's
hey, that's a really good name because we're going to ask tomorrow, Paul. We're going to ask our buddy Daryl all about the Harold Ballard days. That'll be I'm sure he'll give us a good story.
Oh, I'm sure there's a few good stories back there. Yeah. And under, I believe he was coached also by Red Kelly in the Pyramid Power. That
was Pyramid Power, where he put the pyramid behind the bench, and it goes way back. Goes back to the Toronto Maple Leafs have had some absolutely loopy coaches over the years, from John Brophy coming in, turning the lights out and throwing sticks everywhere. You know, when we talked to Dennis Marook a couple of days ago, he was talking about Basil McRae. Remind me, guys, at one time I'm going to tell a Basil McRae story from when they were all together in Newmarket at training camp at the Ray Twinney complex in Newmarket, and Basil McRae did something that to this day blew my mind.
You know what? I'm going to reach out to Basil McRae and we'll see if we can get him on the show. What do you think of that?
That
sounds like a good idea.
Okay, guys, we want to wrap up a little bit. So, Val, what else you got for us?
All right, one more thing, Kerry. It's called the Scotiabank Arena, affectionately known as the ACC to everyone else still in the city of Toronto.
You know what? I foolishly, over in Australia, we've been sponsored by Scotiabank, Christine Miles and Scott Jenick. They've been absolutely fantastic with us. And I remember being in a meeting a couple of, like maybe it was last year with everybody and in Australia. And I said, foolishly, what do you think? And I met Scott, who's running the Scotiabank over in Australia. And I said, hey, you know, what do you think of the Air Canada Centre? And he looked at me and he looked at me and he said, Kerry, you know it's called Scotiabank Centre, right? And I thought, oh my God, they're our sponsor and I'm calling it Air Canada.
You know what, Kerry?
I still call the Rogers Centre the Sky Dome.
Exactly. So do I.
All right. Anything else on it? You got anything else for us?
No, we'll see what I'm looking forward to I'm looking forward to the interview with Daryl Silt tomorrow and coming back and putting in my overtime, as they say.
Right on. Fantastic. We look forward to it. Paul, I know we've got Sammy and Billy coming up. I just confirmed Christian Hansen is going to be on the show. We're going to lay out, Val, you're going to help us because you do all the graphics. We're going to put up a little bit of a schedule of the new show, how it's going to work so people can get the understanding of it. Brian Propp from the Philadelphia Flyers heydays, one of the top players in the Brandon Wheat King organization, of course, now living in Philadelphia. He's going to tell us a bunch of stories there. Obviously, Paul, Philadelphia having a blast year, like unbelievable that they were ready. They could have went for the Stanley Cup. They've got goaltending, and we'll talk to Brian all about that. And I want to just do some shout outs to Lori Fenelon in Sioux Lookout. Her father was one of my best friends, Davidson, God, off the top of my head, one of my best friends. I can't remember his first name, for God's sakes. Dick Davidson. We lost him a few years ago. Thank you, Lori, for being a big supporter of us. And we've got our buddy out in Australia right now, Paul Zaleski. I may have said it wrong. Not great with names.
No,
you know what, Val? He
Yes.
wants to know more about basketball. So tomorrow, if you don't mind, he's a big basketball nut. And Australia has a huge basketball league brought to you by Hungry Jacks. I want you to bring up some of that. And as usual, Hans,
definitely.
Thank you very much. And EJ Bauer, Kevin Hune, and a bunch of other people. Thank you for joining us. Last word, Paul Rosen.
Yeah, just keep believing that things are going to get better, and they will. If you're outside and you need to get something, use common sense, people. Okay, I don't want to have to be outside and take my leg off and smack you in the head with it. Just let's use some common sense. Everybody will get what they need to get. Turn on Gooch Live featuring Paul Rosen with that overtime segment by Val the Man, 4 o'clock Eastern, unless we change it and tell you differently. But tomorrow is 2 o'clock Eastern.
2 o'clock, yeah, because it's the only time we can get Daryl, so we changed for the
2 o'clock Eastern. And it will have to change sometimes for incredible guests, but just sit down and enjoy. That's the whole thing. Enjoy. Know that Gooch loves you, Rosie loves you, and Val loves you.
In closing, I want to say that Hans, thank you, bud. He said Peter Enichak was the best player they had in Krefeld. So big shout out to him. And also, Lori, it is your beautiful father, Dick Davidson. I miss him every single day. He's one of my favorites. All right, guys, signing off, Gooch, on Gooch Live here in Richmond Hill. Thank you. And you know what? Tonight, we've got something extra special coming up. We almost forgot, Val. There's a new show. Because of the success of our show, Gooch Live will be presenting tonight a new show called Tonic. Tonic is Tony Neal. She's my wife, as you know, and she is missing all of her friends, and they are constantly on the internet talking from Germany, from Australia, from New Zealand, and all the girls have now got onto this house party concept where they can talk and drink wine and drink, make gin and tonics. They love gin, great gin out of Australia, New Zealand. So Tony Neal is going to be presenting a show called Tonic here on Gooch Live every Thursday, just getting the girls ready for the weekend. So you make sure you check it out here at 5 o'clock today. You're going to see the one and only Tony Neal doing a show called Tonic. Paul, I know you and I are going to be watching it, and we're going to be chirping.
I'm telling you, boy, my hands will be typing.
All right, guys.
Cheers.
Thanks, guys.
All right, take care. Thanks, guys.
Bye.